Will Fleming, how does it feel to have baseball back?
I'll get to the baseball part, but first I want to say there's this really weird round orange thing in the sky that makes my skin feel warm and hot, and I just don't know where I am or how to operate.
Not familiar.
But, it feels great to be with you guys. How are you?
We're good, man.
We don't have that
Jealous,
big round thing in the sky. I see gray skies and I see snow.
I left Providence, Rhode Island this morning, and it was 12 degrees and icy, and it's just it's great to be here. And I'll tell you what, I've only been here for 12 hours, but I'm sure we'll get into the details and all the specifics. But this place, this clubhouse, this group, this team feels totally different, and I really do believe that they're primed to do something pretty cool this year.
Yeah, there's a buzz around this team, and it started late last week, quite honestly, when they reached a deal with Bregman. That felt like it added more life to the offseason.
Yeah, puzzle,
you had Crochet, you had some of the other pieces, but everybody was still kind of waiting. That was the cherry on top of the sundae. And then we had Monday with the Devers stuff. And did you, for you personally, as a broadcaster, a guy who's going to do all these games, was that disappointing that it kind of sucked the life out of what was 3 or 4 days of buzz?
So it didn't suck the life out of it for me. Was it disappointing? Sure it was, because I've known Rafi since he came to AAA. I translated his first press conference to the media because he couldn't speak a word of English, and I became very close with him and endeared him to the media, becoming the kid and star that he is. And Rafi is and was a superstar hitter and player, and I'm disappointed that he didn't toe the company line on some level to just say, hey, guys, I'll do whatever it takes to win. But I think Alex Cora, not only is he the right guy to manage this thing, but I think he nailed it. And you have to give a player of that. Ted, you could probably relate to this. You've been in locker rooms where people are one thing for a long time, and then all of a sudden maybe the universe around them changes, and you need to give them a little bit of leeway and latitude to sort of process that and get through it. And I think that's basically where we are with Rafi, where he wants to be the third baseman. The team maybe thinks that the overall roster is better off if somebody else is occasionally or all the time the third baseman. I think it's going to be a total non-issue. This seems to me to be like a complete spring training storyline thing. He's your most prominent, highest paid player, but I don't think he's defined by being the third baseman, and I don't think that he took the juice out of what's about to happen.
Talking about the juice, and you touched on it, Will, and I kind of want to go back to that, just about the overall mood in the locker room. I mean, you hear, I don't know, I heard Alex Cora say that the attention to detail was as good as he's seen it in previous spring trainings. I think I heard Lucas Giolito was talking about just the awesome vibes of the team, and I don't know. I mean, the feeling in going into this season is just different, Will. It feels like this year, comparatively speaking, to recent years. Can you just speak on kind of what you're observing, what you're hearing about the overall tone and tenor of the vibes down there at spring training, and just the excitement it sounds like is kind of going on with this young team?
Sure, I can. And I think, first of all, expectations and tone and vibes are all fun and good, but it doesn't matter until we open up March 27th in Texas. Like, the proof will be in the games and whether they win or not. And I think everybody in that clubhouse understands that. But I will just give you a couple quick anecdotes to tell you what's going on here and how this club feels different and is different. So Alex Bregman shows up, and all of us all offseason have wanted him for a lot of reasons. Right-handed power, solidify the infield defense, and be a leader who's been in the playoffs every year of his career. So the first day he's in camp, he sees Anthony, Campbell, and Meyer at a table, and he goes over and sits down with them and talks to them for an hour about hitting and what it's like to be a pro and all that stuff. People have read that story. They've heard that thing. What they didn't hear is that 10 minutes later, Rob Refsnyder and Romy Gonzalez, who were two of the best pinch hitters against left-handed pitching in the game, were two tables over. And Bregman, who has been in the ALCS 7 years in a row, walked over to them and said, hey, guys, we really need to talk about what it's like and how you can help me be better against left-handed pitching. Like that, it's everything that everyone thought Bregman could be. And, Ted, you've been in these locker rooms, man. It's a very real thing.
Oh, yeah.
The impact of one human being can change the feel of an entire clubhouse. And I think that's why we've heard over and over again from Alex Cora. He was around Bregman. He knows what he can do to a room and a group. And I think we're seeing that. And I'll just tell you that the combination of returning, seasoned, long-time big league guys and this wave of young superstar potential players, I think that is where, I could rail and rail against like the overthinking of analytical front offices and how we wait too long and we don't make big moves because we're waiting for the perfect time to do everything. I will say that being here right now and looking at this roster and this club, it does feel like it's the collision of planets where it's like the young stars are coming, the established old guys are here, they're all going to equally push each other, and I think it's a really cool blend.
Will, in terms of the pitching, Garrett Crochet adds a legitimate top-of-the-rotation, ace, Cy Young candidate. What is he bringing to the team beyond just, obviously, electric stuff and being a pig, as Lou Merlone would call him?
Isn't that great? Oink, oink. I think we'll learn that eventually, Andy. I'm not sure we necessarily know yet whether – because I think Garrett is different than, say, like a Nate Eovaldi or a Michael Wacha or some of these veteran pitchers who come in and teach the young guys, because you have to think about it. Crochet has not established himself really as like a veteran starting pitcher. The numbers jump off the page. He has electric stuff, and I think he's going to change their whole staff. But I think Garrett Crochet is a little bit different than other, sort of bona fide starters, Andy, because he needs to prove himself too. Now, everybody knows he's got the potential, and everybody wants him to be the anchor and the ace, and I'm fired up to see him on opening day. He'll be great, but it's not like he's going to come in and totally say, hey, man, I've been through these battles and these wars, and here's how to do this and that. That's where somebody like Walker Buehler gets really interesting to me, where because he's been on these World Series teams. He has done so many of the things that the Red Sox hope to do. So I think in a way, Buehler is more that guy than necessarily Crochet, but the depth of pitching is in a place that it has not been in a long time. And again, that's another reason why this is so exciting.
Will, is there anybody that we're not talking about? I know, I feel like Trevor Story gets overlooked. I mean, he gets injured a lot, but I mean, the guy's, if he's the player that we all think he can be when he first was brought here, that would make us all feel better. But is there just anybody that's so far in spring training that you have your eye on that maybe looks good, looks different, that maybe we're not talking about that we should be?
So, first of all, I would just say, Ted, that Trevor Story, and people balk at this because he's been hurt, he's not lived up to the contract. I could make an argument that Trevor Story is the most important player on the Boston Red Sox. I really could, because if he is healthy and he plays a Gold Glove shortstop, which he does when he's healthy, that changes everything. It covers up for so much on the left side of the infield. If it's Devers, that's important. And he's a right-handed bat who maybe he hits 260, but if at Fenway he hits you 30 home runs, I mean, you're talking about an elite game-changing, sort of season-changing player. I think Garrett Whitlock is a guy to really think about because they've finally made the decision to move him into the bullpen. And in the modern game, these starting pitchers are so underused. They get pulled all the time. We need multi-inning relievers. Garrett Whitlock, when he's right, is the most dominant guy you could ever imagine for 2 innings out of the bullpen. He'll just get you 6 outs, and 2 guys will make contact at all. So I think that if Trevor can be healthy and solidify that shortstop position, it absolutely anchors the entire defense. If Whitlock can really be the long sort of bridge guy when a starter doesn't go long enough to get you to those high leverage bullpen guys. I think those are two guys to really keep an eye on.
So, Will, you've been boots on the ground for a few hours now, so that means I expect you to have a crystal ball, and I want to ask you a couple quick-hitting questions. So, opening day, third baseman will be?
Oh,
did we lose you?
Alex Bregman.
Okay.
Alex Bregman.
So the opening day second baseman will be?
Christian Campbell.
Who will have the most saves for the Boston Red Sox this year?
Liam Hendricks.
And finally, will Casas and Yoshida both be on the Red Sox all season?
Yes, but neither will be next year.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's good. Those are good answers right
Those
there.
were
Will.
those were
It
tremendous.
started off a little shaky, but
no,
boy,
I love
he
it. The
came
pause,
through.
the
Yeah,
pause
he had to think
told
about
he had to think about it. It was a serious answer.
Well, he asked me the hardest question of all.
Pretty much.
I mean,
Pretty much.
No,
that is the thing, right? That's where we are as a franchise. It's like that thing about who plays third base is so layered, and I know it's dominating all the conversation in Boston.
Oh yeah.
The key is not third base, guys. It's not. It's second base. And so my answer is predicated on the hope that Christian Campbell can do it, right? Because if he can do it defensively, they're going to give him that job, and then it just is a pretty simple thing of like, well, what are we talking about? We're a better team with these people in these places. If that doesn't happen, if Christian's not ready to play defense at second, okay. But they want him to be on the team, and if he can earn that job, I think that's how it'll play out.
And I guess the one final question before I let you go is how many wins?
92. I got 92.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, of course, that assumes that Crochet and all these pitchers are healthy. You can never, 92 is my number, and I think they really take the AL East to the last week of the season.
And will they make a run in the postseason then? I like where this is going.
I definitely think so. I definitely think so. Because, listen, this is what I've said to everybody who will listen. Most people don't listen to me, but anybody who will listen for 5 years, here's the deal. This is how it works, okay? You got to get in because in Alex Cora, you got the best game manager in the sport, period. And you got a bunch of clutch hitters who can do things in big spots. Devers is that dude. We know that Bregman is that guy. With Alex Cora running the team, if you get into the playoffs, he will outmanage every single other person who he's across from. And in baseball, that matters more than anything. And so I just think he'll have all these weapons at his disposal. Can you imagine if he has Garrett Crochet, Walker Buehler, and whoever the third guy is, whether it's Giolito, Bayo, Crawford, whomever, and then you just put all those other arms into the bullpen, and Alex can just outmanage everybody? I mean, I just think they've finally given him enough weapons, enough pieces, enough tools where if they get in, I think this team is ready to go on a big run.
And Will Fleming is ready to go on a big run as the lead play-by-play guy here on WEEI. Starts tomorrow, right? What do you got, Tampa Bay?
Amazing, right? We're going to drive up to Port Charlotte. Not many everyday regulars, but we got Campbell and hopefully Anthony and definitely Meyer. So we'll talk about the future, and then Sunday we really get going back at JetBlue with all the big boys at home. I can't tell you how excited I am to get going, guys, and it's an honor to be the voice of the Red Sox. It's an honor to have this team, this roster, and I think we have a chance to have a really exciting summer.
Now, and my final question for you before we let you go is
final.
Yeah,
question.
well, it just came to me because I was a big fan of Joe Castiglione's disappointing tone when he would say "swing and a pop up" and the Red Sox lose.
Yeah.
So, will you have a trademark disappointing tone or statement when somebody? Are we working on that?
I'm not working on it, but I'll try to channel the anger. Right?
Okay,
I mean,
right.
The thing that I love so much. By the way, I just saw Joe 10 minutes ago. He's out finishing the back nine here down in Fort Myers,
nice.
And not of life on the golf course, literally. One of the things that people said to him and that I loved hearing from him sitting next to him all these years, where he taught me so much about what it means to be a Red Sox broadcaster and what our fans want and need. that ability, when somebody flips it on, they're driving down to the Cape, and like in 2 seconds you can know whether we're winning or losing. Like that to me is a great gift, and I think that's something that I aspire to do, where somebody flips it on, and by the tone of his voice, you could know whether the Red Sox were winning or losing. And by the way, he would give a Yankees score, and just because if the Red Sox were losing 13-2 in the fourth inning, Joe would say, and by the way, the Yankees are losing 10-2, and it would be like like light in his voice. So. Andy, I'm not workshopping it necessarily, but I know how important that is to our listeners and our fans to know that the person who's doing the games on the radio cares so much and wants the team to win and do well, and also is fair about it when they're not, and is psyched when the Yankees are losing. And so if I can be half as good at channeling that stuff as Joe was, well, then I think I'll be doing all right.
All right, well, we appreciate you joining us. We look forward to the team that you have winning 90-plus games, and we 92. Look forward to listening to you all
What's
year
your
long.
guys' number? What do you put me on the spot? What do you guys think?
I'm with Will. I'm pumped. I covered Alex down in Houston and Cora for 5 years, and so I'm a big fan of his. I know what he can bring. Will, and so I'm optimistic. Just all the pitching depth that we have, and it feels like we have depth on the infield too with DH. So I'm with you. I think the over 90 wins is achievable.
All right, I got 88 wins.
Andy, what do you got?
88 wins.
88?
I think you guys are a little optimistic.
Is that a playoff team?
Absolutely. That's a wild card team, and then we have a little fun and see where it goes. And I think if you have an ace and you have a lineup and you have a manager, if you get in the playoffs, you got a shot. So I think they have a shot. So all right, Will, enjoy the weather, enjoy the baseball, and we'll talk to you down the line.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks, Will.